I want to ask you a question. The question that might ruffle a few feathers out there. I want to know who told you you were done? Talk about the world's view of retirement, cruises, golf, sitting still, going fishing all the time. I mean, I love to fish, but all the time would just take the joy out of it without having some sort of ministry contrast in it. Well, when I look at the Bible, as I look through this book here, I just have never found the word retirement for a servant of God. I want to share a moment where I felt this struggle, where I was wondering if retirement was right there in my bones to stop. In 2024, I faced a lot of surgeries and medical conditions that just sprung what it seemed like from nowhere. And many of you know the other ministry that I have called Awake to Joy, which is a YouTube channel, which is designed to help survivors of childhood sexual abuse. That work was in my heart, but because of the exhaustion and from the surgeries and that darn medication, I just couldn't do it. And I struggled just to keep our home going. And honestly, just getting dinner on the table or getting groceries into the refrigerator felt like a huge accomplishment. And I felt lost a lot of times. I barely posted a video that year and responded to those who had contacted me with wounded hearts. And the enemy started to whisper to me that I was done. As I sat there in recovery, feeling the call to deliver a message of hope, but looking at my body thinking, Lord, I can't even do the basics. I can't even catch up with my emails right now. I feel so sidelined. And I felt like my season was over. And I didn't have the strength. They didn't have the strength mentally or physically. But God, bit by bit, started showing me that He does. First, He showed me that people were still commenting on the videos, the old videos, while I was sleeping and recovering. Those seeds I had planted years ago were still bearing fruit. I would just sit in my chair and pray for them. And then God really got specific with me. 3 different times that year. Twice while I was actually in the hospital, a nurse or a staff member would stop and look at me and say, I know you. Now I'm thinking, I don't know you. And I feel horrible. But they would come back to say, I figured it out. You're the lady on YouTube, and you have no idea how your messages have been hope to me. Think about that. I was lying in a hospital bed at my weakest, and God used that moment to remind me I was still His vessel. And it happened again when I was finally well enough to start going to the doctor's appointments on my own. And I stopped at a grocery store, one that's about 50 minutes from my house, a place I've never go. And I was standing there in the produce section just to get a couple of things. And a woman kept staring at me. And finally she said, I know you. From somewhere, but I can't figure out where. So I mentioned, well, I have a small YouTube channel. And her face just lit up. She said, thank you. Thank you for the messages of hope you've posted in the past. I've been watching them and they've ministered to me to so much. And I realized something in that produce aisle. We may think we have to constantly be doing to be effective. At least that's what my brain has been telling me. But God showed me in that while I was resting, He was still working. So if you're sitting there today feeling like you can't do much, don't you dare think God is done with you. Your influence has a longer shelf life than you think. And when I felt that ache get so strong, God whispered the Caleb spirit to me. Joshua 14:10 through 12. Caleb was at 85 years of age, and he said, give me this mountain. Caleb didn't ask for a flat valley. He asked for the mountain where the giants lived. Why? Because he had history with God. You have 40 plus years with God, or even 5 years with God. You got history. And maybe you can't run to the church nursery anymore or organize the big potlucks. Potlucks like you used to. And I know that could feel like a loss, but I want you to process something different, a different perspective. Your assignment hasn't ended. It's just shifted from hands work to heart work. I lived this transition vividly last year, and I have to make that incredible hard decision to hold off posting to my other channel, Awake to Joy. That ministry was my baby, I thought. But God asked me to lay it down for a season. Absolutely terrifying. And I honestly wasn't sure if I would ever pick it back up again once I laid it down. But here's the miracle in it. Here's the miracle of the heart work God did in me. During that season of being off of YouTube, sitting in the recovery, I felt God teaching me in ways I never had before been taught. And God was producing new inside of my heart. New so I could bring that to the table, to YouTube. Because I was quiet, I could hear him. And because I could hear him, I realized I had stories to tell. Simple, encouraging stories of his faithfulness. That is how this channel, God Stories with Annette, was born in April of 2025, telling the stories that came so easily because I was simply overflowing with what God was teaching me in his secret place. If I hadn't laid down the one thing, I never would have picked up this new thing. And you know, God is faithful. As my strength got better, my capacity grew. And I didn't lose the old ministry. God just expanded my heart to handle both in his timing. So if you're in a season where you have to lay something down, don't despair. You aren't quitting. You're just making room for the God story and what he's going to write. You're not a has-been. You're a general in faith. I want you to ask God today, Lord, what is my mountain? And let me know in the comments, are you ready to take it? Now I know some of you might think, Annette, that's great for you. But my health is really declining. I can't do what I used to do. Don't I know it? Right now, I'm on some drugs that are helping me in one way, and in another way, making one eye bigger than the other. And makes my face really puffy, but that doesn't stop me from sharing the message I got for you today. In fact, I have a tissue because I have a cold as well. But I want to let you know, when we look at the heroes of faith, like Corrie ten Boom, we all know her story from The Hiding Place, if you don't get her book. But did you know that she was 53 years old when she was released from the concentration camp? And at 53, an age when many people are starting to look at retirement, she and God were just starting the global ministry. She was going to serve in for the next 33 years until she was 85. She traveled the world sharing her testimony. She didn't let age stop her. But then at 86, she suffered stroke after stroke that left her unable to speak. Now the world would say, it's over. She's done. But Corrie knew what we're talking about today. The method changes, but the mission remains. Those last 5 years of her life became known as the silent years. She shifted from public preaching to private prayer and intercession. She couldn't speak, but she could continue to receive visitors. People said that she just was sitting in their presence was a spiritual encouragement to them. She adapted from the traveler to the intercessor. She didn't retire from God. He had just changed her assignment. If Corey Ten Boom can minister without words in her late 80s, I promise you there is a way for you and me to minister right now, right where we are. But you might say, Annette, I don't know what I'm to do. Or I thought I knew my calling and now I just can't do it anymore. I hear you. Believe me, I hear you. It's painful. Painful when we have to put down one tool we loved using. Maybe you can't teach a class anymore, or maybe you can't host those big dinners. But listen closely. The method changes, but the mission remains. Your calling was never just a task. Your calling is a relationship. And if your physical ability has shifted, it just means God is opening a door to be different for you, a different kind of ministry. He isn't asking you to be who you were at 40. He's asking you to trust him with who you are right now. So, how do we find this new assignment? I'm not going to leave you guessing. There are 3 simple steps you can take this week to get started. Step 1 is grieve and give. First, we have to deal with the loss. It's okay to mourn what you can't do anymore. I want to tell you, God, Lord, I miss, and then fill in that blank. Cry if you need to, but then I want you to say, but Lord, I give you my future. We have to release the old season so our hands will be open to catch what is new. Now, step 2, the quiet chair. Here's the challenge. To hear from God, we have to stop talking for a minute. This week, find a comfortable chair, set a timer for just 5 minutes. Don't read, don't talk, just sit and ask the Lord, what do you love about me right now? Let him remind you that you are loved for who you are and not just what you do. And step 3, look for the open door. We often look to big doors, but God usually opens small ones. Look around your immediate circles. Is there a grandchild who needs a text message babysat? A neighbor who needs a smile? A friend who needs a phone call? That's your little open door. Walk through it. You see, you aren't done. You are just beginning your redeployment. Jesus is inviting you on an adventure today. Will you accept? Remember, because he lives, it does change everything.